I had my normal morning swim. Chris, however, did not. Or, do you want to comment?
I did not.
Okay, that was then the comment on that. So now we're gonna pull the anchor up, but we're a bit afraid about these guys over here because we're probably gonna wake them up. But we figure it's 8:30 now and we want to get going and have breakfast on the way. But it's a beautiful morning. The wind is picking up, so it should be a good sail. And we are off to new grounds. See you later.
Well, good morning from me. It is a beautiful morning again. No clouds in the sky. Well, some high cirrus clouds right the way up there, but it's beautiful so far, and it's actually nice change to get out really early. And well, 8:30. It isn't really early. It's not like 6 in the morning, but anyway, it's nice to have the whole archipelago to yourself pretty much. There's hardly any boats around. I can see one kayak and speedboat or two heading around. At the moment we're heading upwind actually, to make the turn to the left to head north, which is fine. It's also nice to run the engine a little bit actually, because we got down to about 50-55% battery because I'm charging so much stuff at the moment, so it takes its toll, you know. Even with all the solar panels out and everything like that, eventually if we don't conserve power we will get down to a really low state, so we'll run the engine here and there and top them up. Anyway, breakfast is coming in a minute. I'm looking forward to that.
Coconut and lemon porridge with banana and apple. And coffee
Nice.
for me.
Nice, honey. Look at that waves, guys! Waves! We never see that inside the archipelago, just from other boats. They're only little tiny ones, I know, but you know, it's always, when you're sailing around a lot in the archipelago, inside and just around the islands and everything, it's always a special feeling when you get out and see the open sea, you know, and you get some swell, a little bit of swell coming in. Sandom over there, we've just gone past. It's like the capital of sailing in the Stockholm archipelago, at least. Looks beautiful from here. It's also the party capital as well. If you really want to go for some nightlife and whatever, it's just starting up again, I think, after COVID. Restrictions are easing now, so yeah, a little bit better at least. Nice and chilled out. Oh, I got a ginger beer. Nice. Thank you. I've got one screen set up for like close range stuff to avoid all the rocks around there, and then the other one with the track on, that's a bit zoomed a bit further out, so you can see more or less what you're looking for and waypoints and things like that. That seems to be working pretty well. So that was really strange, guys. Like on one chart I had a really deep part, and then on this chart plotter here there was a big blue part, and I couldn't see the exact depth, and it was meant to be around 5 meters, but on the depth sounder it showed like 40 meters, and then on the forward scan it was showing like between 5 and 4 meters. Like that was really strange. So it's always best to get all the sails down anyway and just creep through it in case something does happen. We've got a sailboat behind us now that's just sailing through that part absolutely fine, but now they've just turned to the right, so I guess they're getting their sails down as well. I don't know whether they've seen the same thing or not, but both of these charts are both on the iPad and on the Zeus plotter. They're both based on Navigational charts, so can't explain why they're so different, but yeah, they are getting their sails down over there. I don't know whether they've seen the same shallow patch and have the same concerns, not sure.
The entrance to Kallskär can be a little bit tricky, but just stay between the shallow parts, and when you're anchoring, make sure you don't back up far enough to destroy your rudder. Of course, I always say this about Scandinavian mooring, but it's always worth just going in once just to check it out, check the depth and everything before you put the anchor down, and then you got a safe passage in when the anchor is dropped.
Keep pumping, honey. Welcome to Calva. This place is awesome. It's in the Swedish outer archipelago actually, and there's a bunch of islands out here, and they're usually flatter and a bit less scarce to do with vegetation and things like that, but it is absolutely beautiful. You can see in the distance over there, that's towards Stockholm in there, so there's a bit of a gap between the inner and the outer archipelago out here, but some of these places around here are just stunning. And just look at this bay behind me here. There are very limited places in the world that are like this, I think. You know, there's no tide here, there's very little salt water in the water itself, so when you go for a swim you're not full of salt on the way out. It's kind of nice in a way. The water's not so clear in the Stockholm archipelago, but I can live with that also. But it is just, it's a special place to be. Anyway, there's so many places to go. I mean, I remember sailing in the UK, we always used to end up in the same, like, I don't know, 5 or 6 places all the time, you know, unless you started sailing further afield. Out here in Stockholm, we've got thousands of places to go to choose from. We know that I think there's 6,000 or 7,000 islands in this archipelago alone, and there's so many different places. And whichever direction that the wind is coming from, you can always find a nice anchorage just to hide behind the rocks in, and just really have a calm anchorage there to go to. It's a long way to come if you're going to sail here from elsewhere. You know, you've got to come past Denmark and come up to Sweden. But it is just stunning. This is Henrik on his boat, Cathy. How do you say? Is it Cathy called? Cathy, yeah.
Yes.
He has the YouTube channel, My Boat in My Life, yes. Right? And he does awesome docking videos, if I haven't said it before. And yeah, if you really want to learn how to drive a powerboat properly and moor it and do all the anchoring, especially Scandinavian mooring and things like that, then watch his channel. It's really awesome. So these solar panels down here are actually working really well, and they're keeping the batteries topped up just to a level. We are still losing power over time though, even with running the engine probably an hour each day or so, but it extends the time a hell of a lot longer than it did before. All of these panels are now in parallel, even the portable or the temporary solar panel up there. So I can tell actually that when one of these panels is in shade, and they're all connected together, some of the panels are dragging some of the other panels down. So I may have to rethink the setup over winter and put some of them in series and some of them in parallel, or just buy another solar controller or MPPT controller, which is not such a big deal. And then we're going to get more harvesting of the sun out of these panels. But they're really working well, to be honest, and yeah, I'm quite proud of that installation there. You can see down here we have the 150 watt panel, and sometimes it can be difficult to find a place where it's not shaded at all. I mean, you can see
the guardrail lines or lifelines over here are shading it very slightly, but still it's really worth putting out anyway, because now we're actually making power when the sun's up and it's high and everything and there's not too many clouds, and we are putting power back into the batteries. But it's surprising how long it takes to get power back into the batteries, because of the fridge. Generally the fridge is drawing a hell of a lot of power. There is an isotherm fridge in the Hanses here. It's a top opening and a bottom opening fridge as well, but I don't think the insulation is quite enough, so it does draw a lot of power all the time to cool that fridge down. So yeah, it's a compromise, right? You just have to keep topping it up, the batteries up whenever you can. You can actually use the anchor locker here as like a bin or a rubbish bin basically. We store a lot of bottles and rubbish here, and it keeps the smell away from the rest of the boat as well. Of course you can't put too much in here, because if you really need to use the anchor and everything, then you don't want to have to throw out rubbish to get to everything in a hurry if you're in a tight pinch, you know, when you need to get the anchor down in an emergency, for example. Now the other thing I've done this morning as well with the Code Zero is actually raised the furler slightly, because it was binding with the anchor down there. And we've put a little shackle in there, and that's rated to like 4 or 5 tons or something like that. It needs to be very strong for a Code Zero. So that should work out nicely, and it will let the anchor go down and up even with the furler on there. One thing I also learnt yesterday as well, even with the ultra swivel there, I don't think it's particularly designed for these kind of bowsprits, so the anchor did swivel around in a very violent way, crashing into the metal bar just underneath the bowsprit here, which wasn't ideal. So I think we've got to try and twist the anchor the right way around still when it's coming up, which could be difficult. I'll have to have a really good look at that when time permits. I'm really happy with this setup and everything. It's working really nicely. Now the Code Zero is fully installed. All the furling lines are in place there, and I've even installed this double fiddle block here. I'll show you how that works a bit later on if we get the Code Zero out and see that in place. But even with that double fiddle block there, I like to just tie the furling lines off anyway on a cleat if I'm not using that cleat, just to make doubly sure that that big sail does not unfurl at the unexpected moment. But there we go, that's how it is at the moment. And Tanya's like grabbing my legs from inside there. Hello! Check out my new little friend, guys. It's the new DJI FPV. So I've been flying this a little bit now, but the footage you can get from this is totally awesome. If you can fly well. I'm just getting used to it still, but yeah, it's one little fast beast. Let's go and try it out. Henrik's just about to leave here, and we're just about to see the master at work. Now, although I said it was mostly for power boats, if you want to learn how to dock, it's for any boat actually. He's so well prepared with all his ropes, he's very quick at doing the bowline, everything, you know, it's really cool to watch. Beautiful sailboat. They sail so fast, these long and thin wooden boats. There's a lot of sail area on it as well, but beautiful all the same. Do you want me to help you or film?
Film. It's best.
Sure. So you're using one of these to hold the boat while you get the others off, right?
Yes, when you're alone you have to improvise.
Yeah.
That's the easiest way.
Yeah.
Yeah, that rope's quite long out there, so you just need some time with that extra rope there just to hold the boat in place while he gets that long line in. Now that, my friends, is the work of a professional. You can tell that he's been doing that for a lot of years. He's had that boat since 2007, I think. I don't think I'd dare to moor Aurora by myself against the rocks unless the wind was very dead or there was people there ready to help me, you know. Maybe I'll try it one day with the Anchormatic system. It makes it possible, but we'll see in the future. But yeah, great guy. That's Henrik from My Boat and My Life. With Henrik leaving, actually, it's had an unexpected side effect in that I can no longer get on our boat because he's taken the rope and I can't get on his boat to get on our boat anymore. So Tanya's just got to bring the boat back so I can board again. Now you can see out there now, Henrik still has the stern anchor down and he's sorting his lines out on the front of the boat, which means that the wind is actually going to break that stern anchor out for him while he's sorting everything out, so it doesn't put as much load on the stern windlass when he brings it up. Because sometimes these anchors on the back or on the stern, or any anchor actually, can get really wedged down in the mud out here, and it can put a lot of strain on those motors to get it up, so it's always nice to help it out, so to say. Well, there goes Henrik with the mini monster on the back. That's what he calls the dinghy. It's quite a cool name actually. See you, buddy. I can't.
Why not?
I'm stuck.
You can't get to the boat.
I can't get to the boat anymore. You're gonna have to move it across.
Well, that concluded our stay at Kallskär, and what a great stay it was. We will definitely be going back there. On the way out, unfortunately, Tanya was left a little bit on her own to get all the ropes off, which was a little bit surprising because we helped the guys in next to us the day before. But anyway, it just goes to show, even if you don't think anyone needs help, just offer it anyway. It's always a nice thing to do.
I'm on.
Of course, Tanya did a great job anyway. Thanks for watching, guys. If you like this video, please drop us a like. It really helps us both on YouTube and with the personal feeling as well. You're welcome also to follow us on Instagram if you feel for it, and please join us next week as we sail towards Blida.